Hello viewers, welcome to Azure Fundamentals session. Okay, this course is DP 900, so which will be required to become a data engineer in your career. So this is a fundamentals course. Okay, let's get into that. Okay, so as part of this, we will discuss about the key topics in today's session. The key topics are core data concepts, and you understand what is a relational databases and non-relational databases, and what are the different services that we have in Azure for relational data and as well as for the non-relational data. Okay, and how we perform data analytics with the help of the relational data services and non-relational database services on the Azure. So coming to the core data concepts, let's try to understand the basic understanding about the what is a data. What do I mean by data? Data can be your phone numbers that you store on your number, mobile mobile phone, right? It could be a collection of your images. It could be collection of your messages, right? So coming to the organization, what is a data? I'm showing here a few examples that a company they store their employees' personal data, like what is the name of an employee, what is his age, email ID, and the phone number, and as well as the sales data for a product-based company, right? So how many different products that they have, and what is the unit sold for each product, and price, and the total the number of the units that they sold, and what is their revenue. This is the way most of the companies represent their data for a good understanding. Okay, yes, so we are discussing about the data. Okay, so how this data will be managed and how this data will be stored on your system. Okay, so here there are two things that we have to understand. What are the data formats? That means uh, how your data is going to be generated, how it will be maintained on the system. Okay, so the data will be exist in three formats, major three formats. One is a structured format, semi-structured format, and unstructured format. Okay, so once you have data in some format, either it could be a structured or semi-structured and unstructured. So where do you store the data? Okay, or it could be a file store or it could be a database store. Okay, so let's discuss each individual about the data formats. The first one is the structured data. So structured data is always adhered to a fixed schema. Okay, so and all the data has the same fields or properties, and the structured data is often stored in databases also. Okay, so ideally, the data will be stored in a tabular format when you have a structured data, and the data will be represented in the table format, and the table consists of the rows, and the column represents the attributes of the entity. Okay, so let's take an example of uh, you know uh, this customer table. Okay, so this customer table is having the customer ID, customer name, last name, email, and addresses. These are the columns. Okay, so these are the columns of the customer entity. First column, second column, third column, fourth column, and the fifth column. Okay, and these rows will have the information. Okay, what is the customer ID, what is the customer first name, last name, email ID, and the addresses. Okay, so this column represents the attributes of the entity, attributes of the entity: product ID, product name, product price. This is a structured data. Okay, so coming to the semi-structured data. So semi-structured data has some structure but allow variation between instances. Like one mm, customer you may have a five fields, another customer you have a four fields, another customer you have a six fields. Okay, so it will not stick to a specific structure. Okay, we represent a semi-structured format in a JSON format. So we will discuss what is a JSON format in another slides. Okay, you don't need to worry about how to write this JSON file. You only understand what are the different file formats that you have, storage formats. Okay, unstructured data, this won't have any structure, and either it could be a document, it could be an image, it could be an audio, video, and any of the binary files. Okay, so these are the three different formats that you have in a data. Okay, so you have a structured format and unstructured format and a semi-structured format. But what could be the file format? Right, so we have discussed it. Okay, so we have a different file formats for structured data, unstructured data, and all those things. Okay, either that file format could be a delimited text file. That means it could be a CSV file or a TSV file. Okay, and a JSON file format, XML format, blob format, and you also have a optimized file formats that we use it for the compression and processing. And the above four that we use, for the human readable language. But the optimized file formats that we use for the compression and the data processing. Okay, so delimited text file, data will be stored in a plain text format with the fields delimiters and row terminators. Okay, these are the row terminators. Okay, the data is a comma separated value. You see, for everything you have a comma separated values. Okay, so this is a first name, and this is a last name, and this is a email ID. Okay, so and the other format is tab space. Instead of comma, you can keep some tab between these values. Okay. Another format is a JSON format, JavaScript object notation. In this format, your data is represented in a key value pairs. What are the key value? First name is a key, and this is a value. Last name is a key, and this is a value. Okay, and this is an object. Okay, contact object. In that you have again key name type is a home, and the number is this. Okay, so this is a JSON file format. And XML. Okay, so before JSON, XML was pretty heavily used by the industries in 90s and 20s. This is a human readable format, and again this is suppressed by the JSON format. Okay, but still some of the systems that use a XML format to represent the data. Okay, so here this is a syntax. Okay, so customer, and then customer will have the name and have a last name. This is like, again it starts with the bracket, and this is a closing angle bracket. Okay, and the blob, so binary large object. So in this format your all data files are stored in a binary format, zeros and ones. This is a common type of a data stored, like your video, audio, or any application specific documents, images. Okay, so these file formats that we use it for human readable, and okay, but whenever it is coming to the optimizing means now you have a file format, customer data that is having 5 GB and 10 GB data. So is it not a good practice? It is not a good practice to keep the 5 gigabyte of a file, 10 GB of a file, in the CSV file or a JSON file, right? So you can keep, but that will introduce some additional performance issues when you are trying to read the file or write something. Okay, it will take a lot of time to respond. Okay, um, so here we are going to talk about the optimization. Okay, how we are going to optimize the data that is coming through different formats, and how better you process it for analytics. Okay, so we have some specialized file formats that will help us to enable the compression, indexing, efficient storage, and processing. Okay, so these are the three different optimized file formats: Avro, ORC, and Parquet. Let's see those. So Avro file format is a row-based format. This is actually created by the Apache. In this file format, each record has a header describing the data structure. So here header is stored as a JSON and the data is stored as a binary. So applications use the header to parse or extract fields. Okay. So this file format efficient for data compression and it will support reducing the storage and it will improve the network bandwidth. And ORC file format. So this organizes the data into column instead of rows. So this is developed by Horton Works for optimizing read-write operations in Apache Hive. So ORC files contain stripes of data. So each stripe includes an index into the rows, data for each row, a footer with statistical information, then the count, sum, minimum and maximum for each column. Parquet file format. So column data format. It is created by the Cloudera index and it will contain row groups where data for each column is stored together. So it will group. Okay, so each row group has a one or more chunks of a data. So this includes metadata that describes the rows in each chunk. Applications use metadata to quickly locate and retrieve the data because you are grouping that rows. Okay, this will be helpful for efficient storage and process nested data. Okay, and also it will support for efficient compression and the encoding. Okay, so coming here, you don't need to worry about to get a deep insights on these Avro file format, ORC file format, Parquet format right now. So we will discuss those in actual data engineering session. This is only the fundamental session. You just need to only understand the file format types. Okay, so coming to the storage, now you have a different file format and you also have an optimization format. So how exactly organizations or each individual try to store those? Okay, this can be saved on your hard drive or any removable external drives like external USB, external hard drives. But in the real time, most of the organizations that will use a shared storage kind of a NAS or a SAN, and they access these data across their organization. Okay, so how do you choose? Whenever it is coming to the storage of your data, how you're going to choose a type. Okay, so it depends on the nature of the data. If it is a structured data, and you will go for a databases like Azure SQL databases, MySQL. Okay, if it is a unstructured data, then you will choose Azure Blob Storage as an option. Okay, so this then applications and services that will interact with the data for reading, writing and processing. Okay. So whether the data is also needs to be human readable or you are using this for optimization for a efficient storage and processing. So this you need to consider while choosing the file format whenever it is coming to storing the data. Okay, so let's discuss about the summary for this session. Um, so at high level, so you need to understand what are the different data formats that we have in industry: structured, unstructured, semi-structured, and we have different data file formats, that is a CSV or TSV, and a JSON format, XML format, and a blob format. Okay, and we also have a data optimization file formats, that we use for data compression and easy processing. And for we have Avro, ORC, and Parquet. Okay, so these are the summary for this session one. Okay, and we will continue in another session two with Azure Data Fundamentals. Thank you.